Imagine mastering your exams with ease, getting help without even asking, and gaining trust like never before. Get ready to elevate your performance and influence. Your journey to mastering the art of subtle persuasion starts now. After watching this video completely, you will unlock the secrets to master your exams, get help without asking, get anything you want, build stronger trust, elevate your performance, and much more. You will discover after watching this video, so let's dive in. Number 1. The intriguing effect of hearing your name. It's a common experience. You're in a conversation or even just nearby, and suddenly your name is mentioned. Without fail, your ears perk up, your attention hones in, and you're more alert. This isn't just a social nicety. It's a psychological phenomenon that has a profound effect on everyone. Our names are inherently tied to our identity. They're one of the first words we learn to respond to. When someone uses our name in conversation, it does more than just get our attention. It makes us feel recognized and significant. It's a signal that the conversation is about us or involves us directly, which naturally piques our interest. The cognitive science behind it. This reaction is part of a broader concept known as the cocktail party effect. Our brains have this amazing ability to filter out a bunch of background noise and focus on specific sounds, like our names. It's an automatic response that's hardwired into our brains. When we hear our name, it triggers a response that makes us more attentive and engaged, leveraging names in conversation. Knowing this, you can use someone's name strategically in conversation to keep them engaged. It's a subtle way to charm and influence. By inserting their name into your dialogue, you're effectively saying, "I'm talking to you and you're important." It's a form of respect and acknowledgement that can make the conversation more personal and meaningful. The practical side of name dropping. In practice, using someone's name can be a powerful tool. Whether you're trying to keep a colleague focused during a meeting, or you want to ensure a friend feels valued in a casual chat, dropping their name into the conversation can make all the difference. It's a simple technique, but it's backed by a solid understanding of human psychology. Trick number 2, the automatic acceptance reflex. Have you ever been handed something unexpectedly while you're talking? Chances are you took it without even thinking. This happens because during a conversation, our brains are focused on the interaction, not on evaluating whether or not to accept an object. It's an automatic reflex. Why it works. Social norms and politeness play a big role here. We're conditioned to accept things when they're handed to us, partly out of courtesy and partly because we're not expecting to make a decision in that moment. When you're deep in conversation, your guard is down, and you're not in a decision-making mode, making you more likely to accept what's given to you without question. The power of distraction. When someone is engrossed in telling a story or explaining something, their cognitive resources are tied up. They're focused on conveying their thoughts and emotions, not on the act of receiving. So when you hand them something in that moment, their brain automatically defaults to the polite response of accepting it. Practical use of this trick. This trick can be used in various ways. If you need help with carrying something, handing it over while engaging in conversation can be an effective way to get assistance without directly asking for it. It can also be used playfully to see how people react to being given random objects while they're distracted. Trick number 3, practice the Pavlovian Theory. Chewing gum and memory. Imagine you're studying for a big exam. You've got your notes, textbooks, and maybe a cup of coffee. But what if I told you that chewing gum could give you an edge? Here's how it works. Remember Pavlov and his dogs? He discovered that if he rang a bell every time he fed the dogs, they eventually associated the bell sound with food. Well, you can do something similar with gum. Choose a specific flavor. Let's call it study mint. Whenever you study, chew that gum. Your brain starts linking the flavor to the information you're learning. Now, on the day of your exam, pop that same study mint gum. Your brain goes, "Hey, I know this flavor, it's study time." And voila, you might find it easier to recall what you learned. This isn't a magic spell. You still need to study well. But the gum acts as a memory trigger, like a mental post-it note saying, "Remember that stuff." Number 4, the door-in-the-face technique. Imagine you're longing for a pet chinchilla, but buying one isn't within your budget. You might consider employing a psychological strategy to increase your chances of getting it as a gift. This is where the door-in-the-face technique comes into play, setting the stage with a large request. Start with a big ask. In this scenario, you'd begin by asking for something significantly larger or more demanding than what you actually want. Like a dog. Dogs require a lot of care, time, and commitment, so it's likely that your parents will refuse. Following up with the real request switch to what you really want. After your initial request is turned down, you come back with the smaller, more reasonable request. The chinchilla. Compared to the dog, the chinchilla seems like a much less demanding pet. Trick number 5. When you're too tired to say no. Imagine you've just finished a marathon of your favorite show, The OA, on the Netflix, and you're about to hit the hay. Your eyes are heavy, your brain's foggy, and all you want is to sleep. Then, out of the blue, your buddy shows up at your door, asking if they can crash at your place. Now, even though you had decided earlier that you wouldn't let anyone stay over, you find yourself saying yes. Why? Because you're just too tired. When we're exhausted, our brain doesn't want to deal with decisions. It takes the easy route, which often means agreeing to things without much thought. Why this happens? After a long day, our brain's decision-making battery is low. It doesn't want to argue or think hard, so it goes with the flow. Saying yes is easier than a long discussion, especially when you're sleepy. Watch out for this trick. Some people might use this trick on purpose, like a friend who waits until you're worn out to ask for something, or a salesperson who keeps showing you stuff until you're too overwhelmed to say no. Trick number 6, mimicking language. Let's say you're talking to a colleague who frequently uses the phrase, "at the end of the day." When you're discussing a project, you might say, "At the end of the day, we want this campaign to succeed." By using their phrase, you're subtly reinforcing a connection, making them feel like you're on the same wavelength. The word clues. People's choice of words can tell you a lot about them. When someone uses certain phrases or unique words, they're giving you clues about their thoughts and feelings. It's like if eyes are windows to the soul, then words are doors to the mind. By paying close attention to these words and using them yourself when you talk to that person, you create a sense of familiarity and trust. It's like speaking their language, and it makes them feel understood. Trick number 7, building rapport, the favor technique. Imagine you're new at work, and there's a coworker who hasn't warmed up to you yet. You ask them for a small favor, like borrowing a pen or assisting with a printer jam. After they help, you express genuine gratitude. This can start to shift their perception of you from indifferent to positive, as they've invested a bit of effort in your well-being. Now, let's say someone doesn't really like you, or they're just neutral or cold. You can warm up the relationship by asking them for small favors, like passing a drink or helping with a simple task. Then you thank them and let them know they've been a big help. Why does this work? Because when people do favors, they like to think they did it for a good reason. So their brain starts to think, hey, I must like this person if I'm helping them out. Over time, this can turn their opinion of you from negative to positive. Trick number 8, the Pygmalion effect, expectations and performance. Lastly, there's something called the Pygmalion effect. It's all about expectations. If you expect more from yourself, you're more likely to do better. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Believe you can succeed, and you just might. But be careful, because it works both ways. If you expect to fail, you might unconsciously make that happen too. So, in a nutshell, use people's unique words to connect with them. Small favors can lead to better relationships. High expectations can lead to better performance. Let's say a teacher believes that a particular student has the potential to excel in math, even though the student's past performance has been average. The teacher's high expectations and encouragement lead the student to work harder and achieve higher grades. The student's success reinforces the teacher's belief, creating a positive cycle of expectation and achievement. These examples illustrate how understanding and applying psychological principles can influence interactions and outcomes in everyday life. Whether it's through language, small acts of kindness, or setting high expectations, these techniques can be powerful tools when used thoughtfully and ethically. Remember, the goal is to create positive connections and outcomes, not to manipulate others. So as I sign off, I want you to know that you're not just a subscriber, you're family. Keep chasing your dreams, spreading kindness, and embracing life's twists and turns. And hey, don't forget to hit that notification bell.